So in the previous video we saw how we can map or discover all the connected devices to our network. We were only able to get very basic information such as their IP address, their MAC address, and the manufacturer of the MAC address. Now today we're going to use a tool called Zanti 2, which is a mobile penetration testing framework. It allows us to run a number of attacks and information gathering tasks. So we're going to be using this tool in different videos. In today's video we're going to use it to discover all the connected devices and get more information than the last time. So we're going to see what kind of information we'll get. We'll be able to get, we will get the MAC address and an IP address like last time, but we will also be able to get the operating system, the open ports, and in future videos we'll even try to get the programs that are running on these ports and the version of these programs. So Zanti is not available on the App Store, so you can download it from the following link. All you have to do is just download it, tap it and install it. So make sure you download this link from your mobile device or from your tablet. Now once you download Zanti, it's going to look like this. So I'm just going to tap on it. And I've already run this app, so as you can see it discovered devices. So I'm just gonna tap on the refresh sign there, and I'm not gonna use the intrusive scan which looks for vulnerabilities. I'm just gonna leave it the way it is, and I'm gonna tap OK. And as you can see, it's saying that it's mapping the network. It's trying to discover the connected devices. Okay, so now as you can see it stopped mapping the devices, and we have all the devices that are connected to the network. And as you can see, the first thing you'd notice beside each device on this column, you see an icon that represents the operating system or the type of device. So you can see for the first one right here, you have a router icon which telling you that this is a router. It also was able to get the MAC address and the manufacturer telling us it's a HTC device, or the wireless card or the wireless hardware used in that router is made by HTC. If we go on the next one, you can see as well the IP, the MAC address, and that it is an Android device, which is actually this device. As you can see, it says it on the bottom, this device. And then the next one, it was able to detect that it's a Linux device. And remember last time it wasn't, when we used Wi-Fi analyzer, it wasn't able to tell us what operating system each device is. So from here we can actually know that this is a Linux device or something that runs Linux. We still have the name of the device, which is S00S, and we have the MAC address and the manufacturer. And the next one, we can see that we discovered an Apple device. And the name of the device is Z00Z, and it says an Apple device here as well, and we have the MAC address. Another extra thing that you'd notice is right here, which is the ports that are open on each device. So we can see that if we tap on the router, you'll see that it has one port open. So if I go on the Nmap scans right here on the top right, you can see that it has port 80 open. Now Nmap is actually a command line tool that it's short for network mapper, and it's the best and most popular port scanner that is there on the internet. Now you can use this on Linux, on Windows, and on all operating systems. It actually comes in installed with NetHunter, so you can run, if you know how to use Nmap, you can actually run the commands using the command line in NetHunter and you'll be able to get the results. Or you can use Zanti, and I'll show you in the next videos how you can actually use Nmap from within Zanti. And this is all the information that Nmap was able to get, but you don't really need to go through this as it's already shown in the main menu here. So basically what Zanti does, it runs Nmap for you, and then it shows you the results in a really nice and organized way. So, but if you needed to go through the command line, you have it by clicking on the Nmap scans as I showed you. Another device that I'm going to show you here is the Linux device. I'm going to tap on it, and the open ports, as you can see, they're here: port 80, 902, 4915. Now we don't know what's running on these ports. Like even if we come here on the Nmap scans, and I'm just going to look for the Linux device. So it's 145, its IP, which is this one. So if you come here, we can actually just see the open ports, as you can see right here. We have 80, 902, and 49152, but we don't know what programs are running on them. Like, we can see that 80 is HTTP. It's usually HTTP, so it's not a big deal. Like, it didn't really tell us more information about it. So we'd like to know, for example, what server is running on that port, what version of that server, so we can actually try and hack that computer through that server, or through that port, sorry. So I'll go back, and I want to show you something. Like I mentioned, that information gathering is one of the most important steps in penetration testing, and I wasn't over exaggerating it, because let me show you this. So I'm gonna go on this Apple device, and this is my own tablet. It's jailbroken, and as you can see, we have two ports open: port number 22 and port 62078. Now, port 22 usually corresponds to SSH. So I'm gonna go down here just to confirm and show you. So 59, and here you go. That's the IP of the Apple device. And as you can see, that we have port 22 open, and it's a SSH port. So it's for a SSH service. SSH basically is a server that allows you to remotely run Linux commands on the target device. So it's usually installed on servers. For example, if you have a web server online, when you buy a web server or rent a web server, they'll give you an SSH account. So SSH, by using a certain username and password, it will allow you to remotely log into your Linux or Windows or even Mac OS machine and run commands on the target machine. So when you jailbreak your device with Apple, the username, when you jailbreak it, the root password is actually set to ALPINE. So it's the default password. Most people don't know that, and even the people that know that, they don't change it, including me. I actually never changed it. Like, I don't have this just to show you now. So when I jailbroken my device, the password is still as ALPINE. So, for example, when you're doing a scan and then you see an Apple device with port 22 open, it's a good idea just to try to log into that port with the password ALPINE. Now, let me just do this quickly and show you. Now, you can do this from your laptop or from your NetHunter device. I'm just going to do it from the NetHunter device just because we're doing penetration testing using your mobile phone, or you're using your Android, but you can do it from any device that you want. So I'm just gonna go on the NetHunter, and I'm gonna go on home. I'm gonna go on the launcher, and I'm gonna launch Kali Shell and terminal. And all I have to do is SSH into the target. So the command is SSH. The username is root, and you put @ and then put the IP address of the target. So the IP address was 192.168.159. And I'm gonna hit enter. And it's telling me, do you want to trust that target? I'm gonna say yes. And now it's asking me for the password. So I'm gonna use the password. It's ALPINE. I'm gonna hit enter. And as you can see, I logged in as root. So if I go ID, as you can see that I am root, and if I go ifconfig, just to show you that I am actually inside that device. Oh yeah, it doesn't have ifconfig. It's still I don't have that command installed on my tablet, but it is, as you can see, that it's root, and it's at Zeus, which is the name of the iPad. And if I say who am I, as you can see, it's telling me that I am root and I am at the target device. Basically, you're just going to be using Unix commands to navigate through the system, and you can do whatever you want because you are root. And as I said, root has all privileges on the target machine. So this is basically, like, it wasn't an actual hack. It was just a use of information that we gathered. So we saw there's an Apple device. It has SSH open on it, so it's definitely jailbroken. And we just tried the default password, and we were able to log in and gain basically full access to this device. So even if this device had no exploits, it had the latest and greatest software and the best security measurements, we only logged in through a service which is allowed on the device using proper username and password. Right, so in this video we're just going to follow on what we did in the previous video. We're still using Zanti 2 and we're still connected to the same network, and I have the same devices connected here to the network. The only difference is that right now we're going to try and determine the actual programs running on each port. So I'm gonna go on my Linux device, which is this one, just because it has the most number of ports, and we have 3 services running on port 80, 902 and 49152. And as I showed you before, when we go on the scans here, you can see that the ports are open, but you can't see what programs are running on these ports. So let me just show you here. As you can see here, we can see that we have HTTP, and we have on 902 that we have ISS running, and then we have on 9152 that an unknown service is running. So as I said, what Zanti does, it actually uses a very powerful tool called Nmap, and using that tool it can actually show us or get information about the connected devices. So we're gonna go on the scan option here, and what this does, it basically allows us to run advanced scans on the target device. So it's only gonna run it on the device that we selected and not on the whole network. Now I'm gonna go on the scan type, and as you can see, there is a number of scans that you can run. Now I'm not actually gonna be running all of these scans. It's very simple to run them. You basically just tap the scan and it does what the scan does. So there's no point of me just wasting time and running each one of them. I'm gonna be running just a few of them to show you how you can run a scan and what information you'll be getting from each of these scans. So you can see that we have a ping scan and quick OS detection, trace route, and regular scan. All these scans will basically won't show us more information than what we originally have right now. So I'm not going to be running any of these scans. They're usually quick. They'll show you basic information like what we have right now. What I'm going to be running though, I'm going to be running an intense scan. So this will basically show you extra information than what we had from last time. It will show you more information about the open ports and the programs that are running on these open ports. Now as you can see on top, it's saying that it's mapping network again. Now give it its time and then we'll see what information we get. Right, so we can see that the manual scan is completed, as you can see there on top, and you can do a rescan, you can dismiss, and see the log. So I'm going to click on the log, and this is actually the output that was produced by Nmap. And as you can see, the first thing that we were able to detect, remember when we were seeing that the port is 80, so we can see that the port is 80. It's open, it's HTTP, so we were able to get all of that before, but what we have now is the exact program and version running on this program. So we can see that we have Apache HTTPD 2.2.22 and it's running on Ubuntu. So before we only knew that it's Linux, now we actually know it's running on a Ubuntu. So this is the exact version of Linux, and we know that it's Apache, the exact version of the program. We can also see the 902 port that is running an SSL VMware authentication daemon. And if we go on this port 49152, again, before we didn't know, it was just unknown what it's running. Now we actually know that it's running MediaTom UPnP. So this is a media server running, and we have the exact version of this server. So we can actually go now and look for exploits or default passwords or stuff like that for this server. And we can see that it's running on Linux 3.2.079 generic, and that is the kernel version of the Linux, of the operating system that the machine is running. And then you can see it actually has the MAC address and the operating system and all that kind of stuff. And it also performs a trace route on that device, as you can see here, and we can see it's only one hop away because we are on the same network. Right, so as I showed you, there's a number of scans. You can pick any scan you want, experiment with them, and each one of them will give you maybe more information than another one. So Nmap is a huge tool. Like, there is full courses that only talk about Nmap. So if you're really interested into penetration testing, I'd highly recommend that you go and learn more about Nmap. As I said, you can run Nmap commands from the terminal straight away using the Kali terminal right here, or you can just use Zanti, which basically run Nmap commands for you and show them to you in an easy and nice way.